Hey, how y'all doing? This is Mongo Slade, and today we're going to talk about Smackdown because we got a January the 15th, 2020, and ah, this episode of Smackdown was probably one of the best episodes of Smackdown in a long time. Segments were used perfectly. They had layers to them, and there was a lot of going through a lot of these stories. So we're going to talk about Roman Reigns. So the Roman Reigns story is the A story. So we have to go through that first. So Roman Reigns doesn't like the contract. You know, he didn't like the contract. It was a standard WWE contract. And Paul Heyman was telling them, like, these are just standard contracts. They literally say the same thing. They just changed the name of the event, the date, and the performers. That's it. It's a standard contract. And Roman didn't like it. And Heyman was like, you know what? I hate this contract. I hate this contract. Hated it the first time I saw it. And said that he was going to get rid of it. He's going to go and get a new contract. And then he says, this match needs a stipulation. I'm going to give it a stipulation. And so the stipulation that he came up with, or the stipulation he says was going to invoke respect and fear from Adam Pearce into Roman Reigns. So he goes, he chases down Adam Pearce, who is talking to Sonya Deville. And Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville is like, hey, you might have a chance here. Yeah, she's going through the contract. She's like, you might have a chance here. And then Adam Pearce is like, look, I ain't been that guy in a long time. And I'm not even sure that guy could have taken Roman Reigns. Like, I love how humble he was being. Because I expected him to get into this match and then turn it on, right? And then go in there and be scrap daddy. So I was sitting there smiling because I was like, okay, he's being a little subtle. He's like, look, don't expect too much out of me, and then he's gonna go in there and surprise everybody. So then Heyman comes in with the contract, and he starts talking about how this is an opportunity to main event the Royal Rumble, an opportunity that never would have been given to Scrap Daddy Adam Pearce. That is now being given to Adam Pearce, the executive, and how he needs to take this opportunity and make the most of it. And it's being provided to him by Roman Reigns, of course. And he says the match that Roman wants is no disqualification. And then Adam Pearce is like, oh, no disqualification. Why? And then he says, well, you know what? Doesn't matter. Sign the contract. Doesn't really care. He just signed the contract. So then he takes the contract to Roman Reigns. Heyman takes the contract to Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is in the room coaching Apollo Crews, sonning Apollo Crews. Like, man, it's all about control. Now we're going to talk about Apollo Crews in a different segment. In this segment, I just want to note that Apollo Crews was there and how they added something that's like they continued the talking smack thing. Heyman was involved with him, told him to go win the title, be a man. And now he went to the man. He went to Roman for advice. And Roman is like, yeah, this is how you handle it. This is how you take control of your own career. This is how you take control of your own life. Meanwhile, he's got Paul doing everything, right? Considering it handled. And so so Heyman shows up. Apollo Crews is about to leave. He's like, no, sit. You can learn from this. This is a lesson to you, young Apollo, even though they're probably like 3 years apart in age. Heyman's like, hey, no disqualification. Roman didn't even open the contract. He didn't even open it. He said Adam Pearce signed it, and then he said no disqualification. And Roman just kept it closed. It looked like a menu. Like he just kept it closed. He was like, I don't like the no disqualification. I never said that I wanted the no disqualification. He says, I want to do it last man standing. And then Paul was like, oh, you know what? Good idea. I like that idea. We're about to go with the last man standing idea. And then, of course, he goes back to talking to Apollo Crews. You know, he got to go back to he considered it handled, of course. And then he went back to talk to Apollo Crews. So then AP, Adam Pearce, he gets, Roman or Heyman catches up with him. Roman wanted this last man standing, and he expects Adam Pearce to sign it in the ring. And Adam Pearce is just like, whatever. takes the contract, goes, gets in the ring. Is he's going to go and sign this contract in this ring. So he goes, sits in the ring. Roman circles around him, and this is one of my favorite parts here because he sat down first. Adam Pearce sat down first, which was a mistake, right? It's a mistake because this is a power move. It's like Roman acts like he's in prison, right? Like it's like, you want your cornbread? It's like little stuff, Like Adam Pearce sits down, and Roman's like, and Heyman is like, oh, the chairs, I get it, the chairs. You want your chair at the head of the table. He's about to move that chair. He's like, I don't want that chair. I want his chair. And then Adam Pearce just looks at him like, what? And then Jay snatches him up like a small child. Like, get your ass out of this chair. Get your ass out of this chair. What's wrong with you? Jay had a rough night, by the way. Which I'm surprised that was not mentioned by Roman Reigns. But we're going to talk about that in a different segment, too. So, we get Roman taking Adam Pearce's seat. And he's sitting at the head of the table. And Roman signs the contract. And Adam Pearce signs the contract. And he's like, that's the last contract you're ever going to sign. That's exactly the last thing he said before Adam Pearce walked away. And so Adam Pearce walks up the stage, and all of a sudden he starts limping. And he starts, leaning a little bit. And he's like, oh, well, I got an old injury. One of those things that just pops up every now and again. I'm not sure if I'm going to be medically cleared for a match at the Royal Rumble. And that all standard WWE contracts have the same lettering. And it's all card subject to change. And then he says, well, if I'm not going to be able to wrestle because I'm not going to be medically cleared, we need to have a suitable replacement. And his suitable replacement was Kevin Owens. So we got a swerve, bro. It was a swerve. Got people talking for a week about how Adam Pearce is too old. He's washed up. He doesn't know what they're doing. Swerve is Kevin Owens. Okay. This was a swerve that worked. My problem is, of course, Bubba Ray Owens, who I don't like. But I'm going to roll with it. Okay, I'm going to roll with it. I'm not going to complain about it being Kevin Owens. He was off TV for a while. I think it was 2 weeks, something like a week, 2 weeks. He didn't wrestle. Also, he didn't take a beating. So okay, Roman's sitting there just boiling because Adam Pearce outsmarted him. He's of course going to blame Paul for that. He's going to try to force Adam Pearce to have this match. He's probably going to force Adam Pearce into this match. So now this thing did some good stuff here. He swerved Roman. He got over on Roman. Adam Pearce outsmarted Roman. I like that. It's been a while because it shows that you could take an L without looking up at the lights or without tapping out or without getting counted out. You can just take an L in maneuvering, right? Adam Pearce has the power to create, to make matches. As therefore, he used his power to make matches, to invoke the card subject to change, to bring in Kevin Owens. My problem is, why Kevin Owens? Why not Shinsuke Nakamura, who literally got robbed? Right? I get that Kevin Owens is the guy who kind of started this feud. I get that. That's not what what's in my question. My question is like, he's already beaten Kevin Owens twice, 3 times I believe, twice maybe, twice, decisively twice. Why do we have to do it again? Why not give that match to Nakamura? Now, okay, we're doing something else with Nakamura, fine, but so. Who does Roman blame for this? Obviously, he's going to blame Paul because Paul was handling the contracts. Paul was supposed to take care of this. It was considered handled. He needs to be able to trust Paul. Now, Paul is dropping the ball. Paul going to take that L because, that's just, it was his job. We do our job over here. That's what he said. He said it last week. We do our job over here. Paul dropped the ball. So I expect Paul to get chewed out on the next week's episode of Smackdown. Also expect him to get at Jay for losing to Shinsuke Nakamura. But, because that's just kind of how it is. When you get mad, you start lashing out. You start misplacing your anger. So I expect that. Hopefully, Owens and Roman won't make any contact before the Royal Rumble. Hopefully, Roman can do some slick shit and maybe get Adam Pearce put back into the match, maybe by going to Sonya Deville. And I'm okay with it being Adam Pearce versus Roman Reigns, because Adam Pearce is in much better shape now than he was when he was wrestling, which was very smart for Ring of Honor to put out an Adam Pearce video. That was so smart. I love when they do stuff like that. They go into the vault and they find like, oh, they're talking about this guy this week. Okay, throw that guy out there. I just watched that match between him and Brent Albright too, so it was pretty cool. But he's in better shape now than he was then in his prime, and he's only 42. When people were talking about he was old and washed up, yada yada yada, I was like, he could have went to school with AJ Styles, right? AJ Styles and Adam Pearce and Shinsuke Nakamura and Bobby Roode. These guys could have went to high school together. They're only like 2-3 years apart, most of them, And then there's a bunch of other guys on the roster that aren't that far behind, Nakamura is 40. So there's not a lot of range there with people that you want pushed and people that you think are too old, so. But this was very interesting. I love the layers that they added. They've been adding a lot of layers to these stories. There's some tension between Roman and Paul, because Paul dropped the ball twice. Paul was supposed to, he was trying to press that regular ass match onto Roman at first. Roman didn't like it. And then he came up with the no disqualification idea. Roman didn't like that either. So, then he came up, then Roman proposed the last man standing match. And then, he got, Adam Pearce found his way out of it. How is this contract not rock solid? Is it going to be Adam Pearce has to literally not make his medical clearance in order for this match to happen? And that's really why I'm interested in where Sonya Deville fits into this. Because now we've introduced Sonya Deville as an authority figure. We don't know if she has the ability to make matches, but we assume that she can because she was overlooking the contracts. So maybe Sonya Deville is going to say, oh, why don't we make it a triple threat match? A triple threat last man standing match or something silly like that. Which I don't know what to do with myself if they would do something like that. I would literally, I wouldn't like punch my TV or anything like that. But I would complain loudly because that just sounds nonsensical to have a triple threat last man standing match. But it sounds like something I thought, having an I Quit match inside the Hell in a Cell didn't make any sense either. But I liked how it turned out. So I'm loving the Roman Reigns stuff. Still. It's still the best stuff on TV. It's very dramatic. It's very multi-layered. There's a lot of different stories going on. Little things that they're adding stuff every week. Every week, they're not changing the story radically every week. But they're adding bits and pieces. Now Roman is starting to infect other storylines. Right? Roman is starting to take over the show. I'm going to go into this in my Jey Uso video, but Roman is starting to take over the show. He's already fiddle-faddling with Adam Pearce. He's empowered Jey. Jey is his sheriff. He's empowered Jey to do all this stuff that he's intimidating the referees. He's talking to Apollo Crews and scheming against Big E. So, and then he's got, of course, Shinsuke Nakamura, who got screwed, out of his title match. So, and then, of course, the Royal Rumble, which Jey is going to be in. So, Roman is like, got his fingers in all these different pots, and it's not a lot. It's not a lot, but the seeds have been planted into these pots, and now we're just going to have to, over the next couple of weeks, watch them grow. Watch what grows from this Apollo Crews thing. Watch what happens from the Charles Robinson thing. Watching what happens from the big story, which is Adam Pearce getting himself out of this title match, and how Sonya Deville ties into that, and whether Kevin Owens is going to be quote unquote medically cleared or not. There's a lot of different things that we could play with here that I really liking the look of it. because it has so many different layers, it has so many different players, but they're not standing on top of each other. You know, it's all very subtle. It's all very quiet. You know, the commentators are even doing a good job asking these questions, bridging these stories. Like I could literally do like 8 videos on Smackdown because of all of the stuff all of the stuff that they brought into this show. So the Roman Reigns portion was really good. It was fantastic TV. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to this channel, spread the word of 3 count commentaries. I do my best to bring quality analysis and not just biased rantings and ravings. Send me money. I would appreciate that too, especially if you want me to cover a specific topic. I will always respond to money. The more, the easier, the more you give, and that would be pretty dope. But if you want me to do like a full-on research thing, I'm definitely going to need some money. So, but let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to this channel. Thank you guys for your time, and I'll talk to you guys later.